Hi, I'm Doug Johnson.
And I'm Brooks Gray.
And welcome to another episode of Sit Still. Today, a special guest with us from Greater Vision. Today, a very special guest with us. And that special guest is Gerald Wolfe himself of Greater Vision. And I want to say welcome to Gerald. We are glad that you could join us today, and we're so excited that you're here.
Well, good. I'm excited to be here, close to home.
Well, it is close to home.
Yeah.
First Baptist is your home church.
Absolutely.
And we're excited that you're a part of that as well.
I think I'm the least faithful member of First Baptist Church, I've been told. I only come like 6 Sundays a year.
Well, you know, we probably have some members that only come 2 Sundays a year.
Christmas and Easter.
Christmas and Easter. And they're not even fully faithful in those areas.
Wow.
But
hope you're tuning in.
Well, absolutely. Well, welcome to our show. And this is a show that kind of goes out on social media as well as on 1010 here in the Morristown and Lakeway area. And you are in for the weekend. We're excited that you're here. And, you know, Greater Vision has been around as far back as I can remember.
Really?
Yes, it has.
Wow.
And so tell me a little bit about the history of Greater Vision.
Well, we started in 1990, December 30th, 1990. And so we've been on the road 27 years now.
Wow.
And we average about 160 to 180 concerts a year. So that puts us on the road 190 to 200 days a year. And so that's what we've been doing for all these years now. And we keep saying we're going to adjust our schedule and slow down, but just as sure as we do that, things come in that we can't say no to, and so we stay out there but we love it. I mean, it's just we love what we do. We're blessed to be able to do what we love to do, and the Lord's blessed it, so I have no complaints.
Well, good. It sounds, I mean, every time I've ever seen you in concert, it's just it's an event to where you're almost like around the fireplace in the living room, and everybody's just involved. Everybody's having a good time. And there's like no separation between the artist and the people that come to see the concert or experience actually a worship session in many cases.
That's the goal.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we do a lot of, in our programs, there's several stages you have to go through with an audience. One is you're going to have a certain number of people there that know who you are, what you do, but you're always going to have people that don't. And so you have to spend the first 20 minutes just breaking the ice or getting those walls torn down where they will listen to what you're saying or singing. And then that gives you some time to establish where you're headed and what your goal is. All the things we do, and a lot of it's funny, a lot of it's, it's a lot of great songs lyrically and musically, I think. But the goal is to get us to the last 10 minutes where we've built the trust with the audience so we can give them an opportunity to accept the Lord. So if we fail in that respect, then it's really just a show.
Right.
Which sometimes we're asked to do, though. We're asked to do, just give me 30 minutes, sing, get off. But we do our best work when we have time to establish a rapport with the audience and then move them toward a time of decision, or at least be able to present the gospel clearly.
Awesome.
So recently you've ventured out and started what is called the Gospel Music Hymn Sing, and that started a few years ago?
Three and a half years ago.
Here at First Baptist was the first one.
Yeah.
And so we were having another one in a few days. What's the response been like that? I know there was just a buzz around the church after you all did the first one. Everybody loved it. And have you had how much of what you do is hymn sing now, and how much is just normal Greater Vision concert?
When we did the event here 3.5 years ago, we had no idea. The reason I wanted to do it here was because, of course, this is where I go to church, and I knew enough of the history of the church to know that there would be a good base for people that would know the songs, especially in East Tennessee. So, but when we did it here, we had people from everywhere. I mean, there were 20 different states that we know of represented, some as far away as California. And we videoed it because I wanted to preserve it, really, for my kids and grandkids that don't even exist yet, And so that just kind of exploded. It wasn't a planned explosion. It just happened, and we started getting email from people literally around the world. Wow. And we started shipping those DVDs out to Australia and South Africa and Europe, and it was amazing, Philippines. And then churches started calling us and saying, hey, can you do that at our church? Can you do one of those for us? One worship pastor from a very large church in the Southern Baptist Convention called me one day. He said, okay, I've seen this DVD. How did you do it? I said, well, I just told him what the page number was, and we kicked it off and just started singing. He said, no. How did you do that? And I said, man, it's what you used to do, just try to remember, and you can do it. So we started doing those as much as we can. And to answer your question specifically, we can't go to all the places that want us to come. So we've set aside now, in January every year, we go to Florida, and we will do 5 or 6 days in a row.
That's a good time to go to Florida.
It is. It is, and there's a lot of people there from all over the country, snowbirds. And that's true. So we'll do that in January. In May, we will do a weekend, 4 dates, usually in the Midwest and Northeast. And then in October, we will do a week in the South and Southwest. And that's about all we have time to do.
So do you have plans, or do you have ambitions of doing an international hymn sing somewhere?
Yeah, we get a lot, and I mean a lot, of requests from the United Kingdom to bring it there. The problem is it is an expensive venture when you go to transport 4 or 5 gospel groups and the band and everything you need. Yeah, our tour usually consists of 4 buses, sometimes 5, and then you have 20, 25 people involved. And so the budget is really high. And we try to keep it where we can price it low so people will bring their families rather than just 1 or 2 people from a household coming. We want the whole family to come, because kids can really benefit, I think, from being involved in worship where there are multi-generational groups involved instead of just all kids or all teens or all senior adults. I think it's really neat to have everybody together to learn from each other. What worship is, because I still remember, and you probably do, some of the best times I ever had in church growing up. I can remember characters in our church by name, and although I thought of this a few weeks ago, all the people that I remember in church when I was growing up were older people. I don't remember all the names of the kids I was in Sunday school with. Some of them I do, the ones that were friends of mine, but I remember the characters were all older, so I learned a lot from them. So that's what the goal is to kind of bring groups of people together in a setting where it's kind of familiar, and even if you don't know the songs, you can pick it up pretty quick, So we'll do it as long as we can, but I'm really enjoying it. And to answer the question specifically, we will eventually take it to the United Kingdom. I don't know when that'll be.
Well, you can do, to make it a little bit cheaper with all those people on the road, you can do like my wife does when we go to Dollywood, just pack little sandwich bags. This is what you're eating. This is what you have to eat. We're not buying food when we get there. Just
well, did you know the BBC, British Broadcasting Corporation, sponsors a hymn sing every year, and they do it in different venues throughout the United Kingdom. And the last one they did, or the one that they've posted, they had it at Royal Albert Hall in London, and there were 6,000 people.
Wow.
This is a hymn sing.
A hymn sing.
A Gerald Wolfe created style hymn sing.
No. I did not know this, but a friend of ours who's involved with In Touch, who is from England, told me they had been doing that for 50 years.
Wow.
And it's the highest rated television special on BBC Two every year, has been for 50 years. Wow. it's a tradition.
Right.
It's not that they're very unchurched now. I think 2% of the population would consider themselves church people, but it's tradition for them. And so 6,000, you can pull it up on YouTube and watch it.
Wow.
Just search for BBC hymn sing or London hymn sing. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing.
That's incredible.
And they sing songs which is cool.
With a different accent.
Yeah, and it's beautiful with the London Symphony.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Backing them up.
Wow.
Which is pretty awesome.
I bet that would be.
Yeah, that has, yeah. Well, you mentioned that you see all age groups. I mean, and I've got, which is pretty cool because I wanted to bring a set of boxing gloves here.
Cool.
Yeah, because, the genre of music that you sing and the genre of music that Brooks sings is on different spectrums, different ends of the spectrum. So do you see a lot of the younger kids or the younger demographics at your concerts?
At our regular concerts? Mm-hmm. Not really, but we never have. I started traveling in 1981 full time, and there was a panic in our genre even then. What are we going to do? There's no young people. What are we going to do? It's going to die. The audience is dying. And I sat down I was in a meeting with a guy who's 88 years old, who has been in full-time Christian music for well more than 60 years. And he opened his briefcase and got out a black and white glossy and passed it around to everybody in the room and said, "Tell me what you see." So there were like 7 or 8 of us in the room. And one guy said, "I know what this is. This is the National Quartet Convention in Memphis, Tennessee." And it was. It was in 1962 or 3. The other guy said, "All the men are wearing suits." Passed it around. And when it got around to Les, who was the old guy, he said, "None of you saw what I saw." I said, "Okay, what did you see?" And he was at the event. He said, look at the hair." He said, "It's all old people." He said, "That was 50 years ago." He said, "All those people, with few exceptions, are dead." He said, "We've never had a young audience."
Wow.
And we're never going to. And he explained it that as people age, and this is true, it's true with me, your musical tastes tend to mellow. They tend to change, I remember what we were all listening to when I was in high school. It was a radio station in Knoxville, WRJZ, I believe it was. 620.
AM Brooks.
It was AM. Yeah, AM.
What's that?
And so as I've aged now, if I'm going to listen to secular music, it's usually Christmas music, and it'll be Tony Bennett or, B.G. Adair, who's 80 years old now, or, that kind of Carpenters, which I would have never listened to 40 years ago.
Right.
So I'm not worried about that. As long as kids can be exposed to the style of music we do in some way. Some will like it. When I was in high school, there were very few of us that liked it.
Right.
Most won't, but as they age, something will trigger something in their head, a memory. Oh, I remember my grandmother had that on a cassette tape. Or I remember, and they start coming around. So that's the way it's always been, and that's the way it'll always be. I mean, music's constantly changing.
Right. I remember that red book.
Oh, yeah.
I remember that. Yeah. And when you started in touring in gospel music, I was spinning rock and roll records. So you weren't listening to anything that I was pushing
Probably
out.
not.
Probably not. Yeah.
But
probably.
I might have been. I don't know. Who was it? Who were your
Oh,
who would have been your major artist?
38 Special.
Hey,
I have no idea. That's a gun.
You got to picture Doug with a mullet.
Seriously, put that up on the screen.
Well, there are pictures on the internet. Trust me. And I do not direct people to get to those. And I'm sure that there's pictures of you on the internet.
Oh, yeah. But my hair looked the same. It's just thinner now. It looked the same.
You know what's interesting? When I was, I guess I was in high school. I'm thinking I was in high school. My parents, my mom and my stepdad used to take us every year on Memorial Day weekend, I think it was, to Gatlinburg. The Gaithers would do a 3-day event over there.
Yeah.
And
They
we would
still
stay,
do that.
We would stay for the whole weekend. And so I was probably 13, 14 maybe in high school. And I have great memories of that. You know, I grew up in a small church I know Doug mentioned, now I lead contemporary worship, which it is what it is. You know, I love doing what I do, but there's a part of me that I grew up in a rural church. I didn't know contemporary music, Christian music existed until I was about in college. My understanding was Christian music is gospel music because that's all I'd ever heard. And so when I started hearing this other stuff, I'm like, that's Christian music? You know, what is that? So I have a lot of fond memories, and I love the hymns. I think a lot of people have in their minds, oh, contemporary guys don't like the old stuff, and, you know, the guys that like gospel don't like the new stuff and all this stuff. But what I've found a lot of times is there's a lot of overlapping, because I've met, you know, if you look at our service, the contemporary service, I mean, we have 18-year-olds to 65-year-olds, probably younger than 18-year-olds, to 70-year-olds in our service. And it's the same way in the other two services that we have at our church. You know, you show up to the traditional service, and we have families with small children all the way up to 80 years old and above. I'm sure some of them. I won't say who. I don't know who, but
they're there.
They know who they are.
That answers the question. When you're here, what service do you attend?
I come to the 10:45.
Oh, okay. All right.
If I'm here, I like, of course, Ben's moved. You know, he's grown and married, and Avery.
I know. Let's not talk about Ben.
Yeah,
because I mean, Ben used to really help out in our ministry.
I know. He's very good at what he does.
He's married.
Bailed on us.
Yeah, he bailed. And then Avery's involved with the media at Manly. So Casey is my only child. He's still here. So when I'm in town, I like for her to come to the service with me. I just think there's a lot of value in families being together, of all places in church.
Absolutely.
But when I'm not here, she goes to the 9:15 service because her Sunday school class is normally during the 10:45. Which is fine. I wish there were an option for Sunday school for her age for the other worship time, but I'm not going to beat that horse. But when I'm in town, we go to that service.
Right.
Now, this Sunday, sometimes we have commitments, things we have to do, so we'll come to one of the earlier services.
You won't this Sunday, because we're only having one service.
I'll be at the 10:45.
10:45 service. There we go.
You can come at 8, but the doors will probably be locked. And
I'll just worship in the parking lot and just move on. But anyway, so that's what we normally do.
Okay.
You know, and there's a good variety in that service. It's kind of they kind of cross the boundaries a little.
I love it all. I played when I was in college up until probably just several years ago. I traveled with a Christian rock group, you know, and we played rock music, and we went to a lot of places that I never would have went to if I did Southern gospel or gospel music but we had the opportunity to share Jesus with a lot of people that probably never would have heard it if we hadn't been doing that. And right. I think what you said is right, though. As we get older, our tastes mellow. Yeah, because I see that. I'm starting to see that in myself. Yeah. I'm still somewhat of a young guy. I'm 34, so.
But it'll change. Your hearing changes, and there's certain frequencies you just can't take anymore. Which a lot of people think means it's too loud when it's not really loud. It's totally. A frequency. By the way, contemporary artists, I don't listen to his music, but I know just what I've seen in some of the events he's involved in. That what's the guy? David Crowder.
David Crowder. Mm-hmm.
He's a well-known contemporary guy. I've noticed he's incorporating old gospel songs into his program now.
Hymns.
Of course, he's aging. Well, not necessarily hymns, but I'll Fly Away, which is an old gospel tune.
Oh, yeah.
You know, Albert E. Brumley, and he does it. I saw him on TV a few weeks ago doing I'll Fly Away, and I thought, boy, that's just way out there for him.
Right.
He was at, I'm not going to the Passion Conference this year, but Passion Conference, for those of you that don't know, is a massive conference for 18 to 25-year-olds. They had been having it in the Georgia Dome until they recently demolished it. But he came out last year And when it was his turn to come out, I mean, you've got this loud music, 18 to 25-year-olds. Here comes David Crowder with an acoustic guitar, a banjo, and a fiddle player, and a stand-up bass, and they're doing bluegrass,
Yeah.
And these 18 to 25-year-olds are loving it. I mean, they're going crazy. And imagine 60,000 18 to 25-year-olds singing bluegrass, singing
Right.
Fly Away.
Just as long as you don't tell them it's old, they don't know.
They don't know. Yeah.
It's new to them. If it's good, it's good.
Right.
If it's well written, it's well written. I don't care what the genre is.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
If it's put together well and it's clear, bring it. I don't have to like it.
Right.
Musically, I don't have to like it. But I'll acknowledge things that are well written, whether I like it or not. And one that I like that's new, that's well written, this Chainbreaker song, which is a very well written contemporary Christian song that has crossed over into it was the number one song in our genre.
Wow. I didn't know that.
By a quartet earlier this year,
Wow.
which is interesting.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Which brings up an interesting question. Have you ever sung a song that you didn't really care for?
That's a great question. I've sung songs that I didn't care
I think
for
we stumped him.
I'm talking
as
about
much as others.
I'm talking about as in one of your performances at a Greater Vision concert. Have you ever compromised with some of the other band members and said, "Okay, we'll do it"?
No.
Oh,
No. I'm blessed to be able to call the songs, and so that it changes. There's never two programs alike because you gauge the audience, But we don't record songs that everybody doesn't agree on. So,
that's good.
when we're in the recording process, if we're not unanimous on a song, it'll never get recorded. So no, we don't have any of those songs that we all can't get behind.
So-
nobody's,
and say we
nobody's
like it.
standing at the side of the stage. You got change.
No.
No, because probably Rodney wrote it. And
Rodney
he's
or
gonna,
Chris,
yeah,
yeah.
Rodney or Chris, either one. And so it's going to be a discussion after it's over if you don't like the song, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Hopefully all that's worked out before you perform it.
Yeah.
Well, we'll record songs like Chris wrote a song for our new album that when he just showed me normally what they do is we're on the bus and they'll bring me a lyric sheet with a basic chord chart, ones and fours and, and then we'll start working on it. Well, Chris laid this piece of music down, and when I looked at the title, I said, man, we can't record this. I said, well, people will never get that title. And he said, well, let me sing it to you and see if you like it. And, So the song was called God Doesn't Care. So after he sang it to me, I said, boy, that's the perfect title because it makes you look at it and you say, what kind of song is that?
Yeah.
You want to listen to it.
And when I introduce it, I tell you, you're going to have to get past this title to get to the song. So people are automatically tuning in. And the song is about, I'll just give you the chorus line. Whatever your story, you need to know the truth. God doesn't care. He just wants to love you. Wow. And then it goes on into, but what a great idea for a song.
Yeah.
So it's either usually a Rodney song or a Chris song. So we work out any problems way ahead of time before
So
we
you
ever
don't see
record.
that one come up on stage when.
Yeah, like if there's a line that doesn't work, can you change this line
Wow.
to where
What?
where it fits better? But
Now, have you written any songs? 3.
3 songs
3.
I have written, yeah.
Okay.
And they're all hits. So my batting average
Quit while you're ahead.
is much better.
1,000 right there, baby.
No, that's not true. Only one of them have been recorded, and it was a Christmas song. And we do it in our Christmas programs every year. But I'm not a writer. I don't mind arranging. I love to arrange, and I like editing. But no, I'm not. It's not my gift.
Right.
And you're less frustrated in life if you operate in your gifts and callings and try to stay out of areas that you're not gifted in, because that's where frustration comes.
Right.
You know, if I try to write a song, I'd be the most frustrated human in the world. You all looked at each other like, is that not master theology?
I think we're sitting here thinking, man, you need to get up behind the pulpit and probably say this to a lot of people.
Yes,
Well, it's
I
the
agree.
truth.
I
It's
agree.
just less stress if you operate in your.
That was one of those tweetable moments right
Yeah,
there. I mean,
let's get on Twitter.
yeah.
I agree. I think it does, and I believe that's what causes people to burn out, if you will.
Yeah.
It's just they're doing stuff. Well, nobody else will do it, so I'll step in and do it. And it's just easy to get tired doing what you're doing if you don't have a real passion for it, and if you're not really gifted at it. So
Paul called it growing weary
Mm-hmm.
and trying to do good, because you're doing things that you're not, like in my case, probably in your case. Well, I know in your case, I love what I do. Everything about it. So people are always saying, how do you keep your schedule? Because when I'm not on the road singing, I'm involved in other things, other meetings, and I go to Nashville a lot for board meetings and different. But I love it, so it doesn't wear me out mentally. I get tired physically.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Paul was talking about weariness being a condition of the spirit, a condition of just wanting to throw in the towel. And I don't ever get there because I love what I do. So if you feel like you're getting weary, you're probably
Not where you should be.
Probably.
how often you're on the road a lot? You know, you said almost 200 dates a year when you're on the road. How often do you come across people that have that mentality? They're just like, I'm exhausted.
All the time. I tell artists, if they begin to complain to me, a friend of mine who's passed away now told me 20 years ago I had made a comment about a recording session that was going long. And I said, this is wearing me out. And he looked at me, he was 6'7". He said, I don't ever want to hear that come out of your mouth again. He said, you begged God to let you do this. Wow. So you need to suck it up. So when artists come to me complaining about their schedule, I'm very blunt with them, which is a shock value. I do it on purpose. I said, well, get out. Get out. If you're standing on a platform not wanting to be there, get out, because you're doing more harm than you're doing good, even though it looks like you're doing good. Because people will pick up on that.
Yes.
So just get out. Go somewhere.
That message also applies to pastors,
Absolutely.
because in many cases you hear senior pastors at churches that are like, I'm tired. I can't handle this anymore. I'm stressed beyond belief, and it's just a struggle just to get up every morning and do what I feel God's called me to do.
Yeah.
And the question is, if that's what God called you to do, where's the struggle?
But isn't it usually, and I'm not a pastor, and I thank God every time it comes to my mind that he didn't call me into that area of service, because he knows I'm not equipped for it. And I would burn out, because I think where I see pastors burn out is in areas where they're not gifted, are called to be. Like, all pastors are not necessarily counselors. It's not their gift.
Right.
They could be great preachers, but maybe that's just not their gift in that area. And they will try to be all things to all people, and then they burn out, and some of them just don't know how to do that right. But then you've got ones that are right in the middle of their calling where God's put them, and they never wear. I mean, they go. You wonder, how do they do that all the time? They keep on going. Brother Dean's a great example of that. I mean, you know, I've got a tough schedule, but I look at his and go, how's he do that?
Yeah, I'm with you.
How's he get on a plane and fly to Israel for 5, 6, 10 days and fly back to the pulpit and then go to Nashville and
the pulpit here Sundays, pulpit Monday night somewhere else, Tuesday night somewhere else, back here on Wednesday, Thursday night somewhere else, and it's like, how does that work?
Yeah, but he loves it.
Oh, yeah.
He obviously does.
And he doesn't look fatigued over it.
He does not.
And a huge part of that I believe too is having a family that is supportive.
Gotta have
it. And can you just say something about? I know we know your children and your wife and they're
Great family.
Great folks.
Well, you know Donna. She's if Donna, if you know her, then you have to believe in the sovereignty of God, because there is no way. I mean, God obviously picked her to be married to me because she can handle it. She never complains. She doesn't say, "Why don't you stay home today? Why do you have to go to a meeting? Why do you have to get on the bus this week? Why don't you schedule more time off?" She has never said that. Instead, she has rallied the troops at home for all these years, 31 years. And all of my kids understand why I do what I do, and they feel like they're a part of it. And it's all because of her. It's not because of me. I've never set them down and said, "Okay, here's what I do. This is why I do it," because that would be a sales pitch.
Right.
But Donna has raised them that way from the time they were itty bitty to where, okay, this is what Dad does. This is why he does it. You know, we support him, and they show up. If we're anywhere near, they're there. They don't ever have an excuse why they can't be there.
And there's always an air of excitement about them.
Oh, all the time.
You know, and that's amazing to see. You know, it's an incredible family. And I think Ben's spending some time on the road with you now.
Ben was with traveling with us. He still does our hymn sing tours because he's my graphics guy. And I don't know what's coming up next if Ben isn't there, because he runs my teleprompter, and people always they think I have all these pages memorized.
You shouldn't say that.
Well, I'm just being honest. It's right there in front of me. But since he married, his wife's family travels like we do. So he is on the road with them now, but he schedules where he can be with us for the hymn sing tours. But otherwise, he's with them. He's a graphic designer, so his office is wherever his laptop is.
Yeah, laptop and Wi-Fi, and he's good to go.
As long as he's got that, he's good. So he doesn't, and I miss that. I miss him being with us.
It's a blessing and a curse. He can work wherever he's at, which is a good thing, but it's also a bad thing that he can work wherever he's at.
Yeah, but he knows how to. He's better at turning it off than I am.
Yeah.
If there's a computer handy, I'll pick it up and work a little, because you never get done.
Well, let's throw something, kind of a little curve into this.
Okay.
This whole setup here, and let's do what we talked about, maybe a lightning round. So Brooks has a list of questions he's going to ask you, and he's going to ask you in a rapid succession. So whatever comes to your mind,
Cool.
This should be fun.
And you can edit later.
No.
It's just straight there. All right, let's start. Favorite venue you have been to this year?
This year? Oh, my goodness. First Baptist Dallas. Historic sanctuary, the old building.
Somebody you would love to do a concert with that you have never performed with?
C.C. Winans.
Favorite hymn?
Jesus Paid It All.
Least favorite hymn? Favorite ride at Disney?
Oh, right now, Rock and Roller Coaster.
What time do you go to bed?
Oh, if I'm at home, I'm in bed by 10. If I'm on the road, a midnight or 1.
Discovery Channel or History Channel?
History.
iOS or Android?
iOS. What is Android?
Cathedrals or Gold City?
Cathedrals? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, so considering he was part of it. Jimi Hendrix or Stevie Ray Vaughan?
I don't have a clue.
Oh, God.
Is that a guitar player? I bet it is, because you're a guitar player.
They're both guitar players.
Okay. Jimi Hendrix.
I don't know that there's a wrong choice.
Yeah, that's a good choice, though.
Favorite Greater Vision song?
Oh.
Let's do this 2 parts, ever and off the current album.
Favorite one, my favorites change, honestly, depends on my season. Right now, God Doesn't Care off the new album. And I would say all time would probably be man, it changes too. Because I go back sometimes and late at night when I'm driving and I will listen to old recordings. So probably, man, that's a hard one.
We can shelf it.
know.
You can pass on that one.
Yeah, I'll have to because it changes.
Favorite holiday?
Christmas,
Pizza or burgers?
pizza. Depends on where the burger's from.
What's your
Well,
favorite
Pizza's
burger?
good anywhere. Huh?
What's your favorite burger?
Five Guys.
Oh, good choice.
Mm-hmm.
You've been given an elephant and you can't give it away or sell it. What do you do with it?
I have been given an elephant.
An elephant. And you can't give it away or sell it. So what would you do with it?
I would fence in my backyard.
It's gonna be a big fence.
It's a big yard.
Do you have an autobiography?
No.
Okay, what would your autobiography be called?
The title of my autobiography. I'd say never quit.
There you go. If you ever come out with autobiography, that's the title we expect.
Yeah, never quit.
If you could steal credit for any great work of art, book, or song, which one would you claim?
Probably How Great Thou Art, because I have heard that song sung in I don't know how many different languages.
It still sounds the same, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, the melody's the same, but it moves you even when you don't
In other words, yeah.
know what they're singing. It's just anointed. It's just an anointed song.
That's good.
Would you rather fight one horse-sized duck or 100 duck-sized horses?
Well, I have had ducks, so I would choose the one.
All right, that's all the questions I got.
Boy, you could.
That was a new one on me because I was thinking, wow, only a contemporary worship pastor would.
You could have ended with a better question.
Okay, let's end with this one. Would you rather listen to a beautiful song or a powerful sermon?
I need both. So it depends on, there again, what season I'm in. Most of the time I would say song. Song. Sometimes when I'm driving at night and everybody's in bed on the bus, I really have some good worship times with songs that I hadn't thought of that just come up on shuffle. That just have great sermon qualities in the lyric.
So what's on your playlist right now? What do you normally listen to when you're driving down the road?
If it's not Christmas time, right now it's exclusively Christmas, but if it's not Christmas time, I listen to a mix of Brooklyn Tabernacle Choir, classic cathedral quartet, the old tallies I really like, London Symphony, big fan of symphonies.
Wow.
So you mentioned, we were talking previously before we started recording, I think you mentioned Donnie McClurkin.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite songs is when he does the Song of Moses with the Brooklyn Tab.
Oh, friend.
You can just count me out, brother.
Friend.
I'm done.
Game
Have
over.
you been to Brooklyn Tab?
I have not. No.
Every Christian should go one time to Brooklyn Tab.
I always tell people, though, my favorite book, probably one of the books that was really changed me, was Jim Cymbala's book, Fresh Wind, Fresh Fire.
Yeah.
Man, such a powerful book. I keep trying to get Doug to read it, but he reads about 8 books at a time, and it's never made his list. So
I'm telling you, man.
I will. That will rise to the top. All right. So I'll definitely make that my next one.
And go to Brooklyn Tab.
And go to Brooklyn Tab.
Now that was a highlight for me. I did Champion of Love, which was Pastor Cymbala's favorite song for a long time for some reason. But I did that song with the cathedrals, with the Brooklyn Tabernacle Choir, backing us up on stage at Radio City Music Hall. in 1988, 2 nights.
How do you get through that?
It was very difficult to hold it together. I mean, when those 300 voices come in behind you, that's pretty awesome.
And what a lot of people don't understand is like, that's not, from what I hear, Carol, does she still direct the choir?
Yeah.
She doesn't read music.
Not a note.
And so you're not talking about a choir that's like hired professional musician. I think I read something that she said one time, or it may have been Pastor Symbol, I can't remember, that said the choir never sings a song that somebody in that choir is not dealing with that issue, what they're singing about. And that's why a lot of what they sing is so powerful, because it's stemming from a place that they're living, you need to read the book. It's great.
I'll read the book.
And you do too if you're watching. You need to read the book.
Yes, everybody read the book. And then go visit the church.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And Pastor Symbol, if you're watching this, we'd like to come visit your church.
Absolutely. And we'll even bring Gerald with us if he's free.
We'll come. I'll go any chance I get.
You mentioned, driving and having a playlist of things that you listen to while everybody else is sleeping. You ever have one of those days where the group, the guys are just giving you a hard time that it's 2:00 in the morning, you just want to brake check that bus?
No.
Okay.
No. In all these years, no, we've never had one of those days.
Wow.
Thank God.
Well, most families don't exist, a year without having one of those days.
I know. But I'm telling you the truth. We've never gone to bed on the bus where there was tension in the air. Never.
Wow.
Mm-mm. No.
Wow.
We're blessed. I'm serious. We hear stories about it, but we're just blessed. We've actually, and we talk about it. We have the same goal, which helps.
Mm-hmm.
And we feel like we have the same calling and the same purpose for what we do. And so it just works.
I don't know your new member. I don't think I've ever met him. John. I know Chris and Rodney, great guys. Rodney, is just,
he's unique.
He's unique. And then I remember there was, when we were in Israel together, we were at the Dead Sea, and Rodney had this, he was dressed nice, and he's standing on the shore, and then there was somebody took off running and gave him a big hug, and of course you had all that mud, and Rodney just, I'm sitting there thinking, Rodney, I don't know if I'd have reacted the same way you reacted.
He's unique.
He's and Chris, of course, I roomed with Chris that week.
Oh my!
Yeah, and there were videos of my snoring and everything else that was going on.
I've seen some of those. They're on the internet.
Oh, great! Yeah.
He's a character.
He is.
He's the guy that keeps us laughing on the bus.
Really?
Chris, yeah.
Yeah, he's a good guy. You want to get your phone there, Brooks?
No.
Okay, we won't worry about that.
Let you know we're busy right now.
Yeah. Wow. That's unique. I don't think we've ever had we've had train horns. We've had a few other things.
Pretty good. Call the number on your screen. Operators are standing by.
I think, now people are going to know that I don't answer my phone. Oh, he's there. He's just not answering.
Yeah, we see him on TV.
They talk about that anyway.
Do they? Gosh.
No, I don't know.
And Doug, he leaves before everybody else because Brooks doesn't answer his phone. What's wrong with those guys?
Full-time ministry.
That's right.
Well, this has been a great last episode. No. Well, one other thing we wanted to do.
Yep.
I don't know how long this episode's went. We thought, since we got a special guest, we should try to keep you around as long as we can. But one thing we wanted to do, I've got a little mug here.
I'm going to draw names.
With some strips of paper, we're going to give away Christmas presents. Which I do want to ask you this. You mentioned your Christmas playlist. Are you the type of person that on December 26th, you're done with Christmas? Or do you go through like the new year?
Yes.
All the way to January 1st? Or beyond?
Yeah, and I phase it out.
So you're still playing Christmas songs at home on your
Oh, yeah,
playlist
right
all the way
now.
through.
All the way through the house, yeah.
Because I
Do
noticed
you still have Christmas decorations up?
Yeah, they'll
See.
stay up till probably the second or third week.
he's answering us like, don't you all?
Yeah,
See,
is that-
my wife, on December 26th, you would never know that Christmas just happened the previous month. Everything's gone Christmas in our house.
oh my gosh,
Yeah.
how dreadful. It's got to stay up at least till New Year's Day.
Yeah, and we still have,
I mean, there's a tree in this building here that's 30 feet high.
yes.
That's
And it'll be
Still
after
up.
New Year's Day.
Yeah.
Or after.
Yes,
At least
after.
After.
Very true. I'm deprived.
Well, I mean,
Christmas is over.
and I was listening, and I was driving home yesterday, and I had a contemporary Christian station on, and I didn't hear one single Christmas song from the time I left here to the time I got home. And I thought, this is not where Christmas ends. This is really the beginning of the celebration. And we
Right.
celebrate coming into Christmas, but now Christmas is now.
Oh,
this
he's
is the-
here.
this,
Let's
it's-
go home.
Yeah, he's here. We're done. And that's and I thought, how can you be a Christian radio station and not be right after the same week of Christmas be playing Christmas songs?
You're asking the wrong dude.
Well, at least I'm
'Cause
asking somebody that.
I think they should plug them in
All year
throughout the
long.
year, sure.
Yeah.
I mean, we
That's good.
play songs about the resurrection all year,
It's true.
not just Easter.
That's right.
So,
My brother pastors a church in Smithville, and he said, yeah, we'll sing Christmas songs in June or July. It don't matter.
yeah,
He's like, it's theology, man. We're just singing theology.
and it's good theology.
Yeah.
One of the most popular songs we ever did, and we did it for literally decades, 2 decades, was "Oh Holy Night." And I would do that in July. Because people would ask, they would ask
Right.
for the song. So I would do it in June or July.
I will interject here. If you ask Doug Johnson, there are some songs, Christmas songs, that are not good theology. One being "Hark the Herald Angels Sing," because Doug, brought up in a staff meeting in devotion, ruined our Christmases. He's like, there's not one reference in Scripture about angels singing. He just ruined it for us.
So you think the heavenly host was saints?
Does it say angels, or are we assuming
It says host.
It says host.
So they're
It doesn't mention them
As
singing,
angelic.
does it?
does-
It says
yeah,
they
does it-
proclaim.
well, who else would it have been?
but was it singing? Were they singing?
No, they were saying.
They were
See,
saying.
that's his point.
But they do sing because that's what got us into all the mess to start with was the choir director fell from grace. I mean, am I wrong?
No, you're right.
So-
you're right. You're right.
Worship leader backslid, which got us in a mess.
Well, there we go.
That'll preach.
Yeah, the worship leader.
So back to where we were with this nice little mug. I picked out a few jokes,
Okay.
and I thought it'd be a great idea for you and Doug to take turns reading these jokes and seeing who can make it through. I have a feeling both of you will be able to make it through the entire mug without laughing. But the point is, if you laugh first, you lose.
Okay.
So
I'm
we
gonna
haven't
tell you-
seen
I didn't
these.
make these
Let-
jokes up.
Okay.
Okay.
So
I'll be honest and tell you that people who tell funny stories are hard. It's a hard room. I mean, you know what I mean?
so
Comedians
Since-
how to work everywhere,
since
right?
you're our
You try.
guest.
Yeah.
since you're our guest, we'll start with you.
How many of these are there?
You don't have to do them all.
Okay, what do you call someone who points out the obvious?
What?
No.
No.
No,
What?
he
Right.
doesn't know. You're
I don't
supposed to
know.
say, no, I don't.
I don't know.
Okay. Someone who points out the obvious.
All right.
Cool beans.
Cool beans.
So you didn't write that?
No, I didn't write these.
That's good.
You're already losing.
I know. I really don't want to do this one. All right.
You can see it. We should skip that one.
Skip it.
We don't.
Skip that.
That was probably the
I'll let
best
you
one.
read that one while I'm reading the other one.
We don't want to do anything that might be controversial on this show.
No, I wouldn't use that one.
So
Where did you get these?
the internet is full of things.
Okay. What did one twin say to the other?
I don't know.
There's not enough womb in here for the two of us.
Okay.
Probably technically lost after
All right,
the last
you-
one.
We need a 360 machine with the laughter
Yeah.
like they have at the radio station.
We could probably
We
post
can-
edit
we can
that.
do that.
Oh, this is good. What's the difference between a well-dressed man on a unicycle and a poorly dressed man on a bike?
I don't know.
A tire. You get it?
Yeah,
Tire.
I got it. A tire. The first thing that goes to my mind is, really?
Okay, we'll do. Doug, you do one more, and then we'll do one more for each of you, and then we'll be
Okay.
done.
I'm winning.
Since
You're
you've
winning.
lost this game already.
I'm
I know.
winning.
Rat
Dean,
race.
I'm
Rat
winning.
race.
What? I'm not sure I understand this. What do you do when there's a sink standing outside your door?
I don't know.
You let that sink in.
Okay.
Delivery is a big part of joke
Yeah,
telling.
Well, yeah, it's
timing,
all about timing and
timing. Okay, this is a good one.
Okay.
This kind of makes me tear up a little, really. What did the mother buffalo say when her boy left for college?
I don't know.
Bye, son. You get it?
I got it.
Bison.
Bison. Yeah.
Because you've got some. Well, Avery's in college, right?
Yeah, he just finished.
Just finished.
Well, he finished his associates. Now he has to transfer
Yeah.
to get his.
So that's why you tear up, because
Yes,
you've
bison.
been there.
Yes.
But he went to college close, though. So
Walter State for his 2 year. Now he's got to go somewhere else.
good deal.
Wow.
All right, one more and we're done.
All right.
Obviously, I didn't do a very good job in finding jokes.
What did one hat say to another?
You go on ahead. I'll just hang around here.
Oh,
Was that right?
Man, yeah.
That's an old one. Not that the bison wasn't an old one.
you didn't get the one that I liked the most. What is red and bad for your teeth?
Eating a book.
A brick.
Oh.
You're thinking of a red hymnal.
Red. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
See?
what you're thinking of.
That's what I'm thinking.
Well,
Which is not really red.
Wait, it's not.
No, it's maroon.
Well, true.
If you order it from Pathway Press, you order maroon. It's maroon, green, blue.
See, we at my home church where I grew up, we had red hymnals. They were the little red. They were actually red.
Oh, Heavenly Highway Hymns.
Maybe, possibly. Just a little old tiny book.
Stamps Baxter book.
Yeah, it had shape notes in it.
Yeah.
Great
I know
book.
that book. I've got it.
And this is a memory that will stick in my head for as long as I live, I think, until I can remember things no more. Anytime we would sing Wonderful, the Matchless Grace of Jesus, it sounded awful in my church because nobody knew the parts to sing. Like
Right.
you'd have some of the sopranos trying to sing the bass line and some of the bass guys singing the tenor. It was just a disaster. And anytime that song was picked out, I'm thinking, I don't know. I'm like a 9-year-old kid thinking, oh, this is going to be awful. And most of the time it was. So if you were singing that in my church when I was young, sorry.
What was the name of that church?
You know who you are.
You know what? That's a great memory, though.
It is.
As a church I grew up in, I didn't grow up at First Baptist, but the church I grew up in, we were kind of oversupplied in the alto section. So a lot of the folks in the church I grew up in think that the melody of the songs are actually the alto line because that's what they heard more than anything else.
See, a lot of the people in my church thought the bass line was just the melody sung an octave lower.
It's not?
No. We've been doing it wrong all these years.
You're right, though. You're very right.
But they are fond memories, though. I loved it.
And you know what? You can't compete with a memory.
Mm.
You cannot compete with a memory. Memories are always better than the reality was. But which is back to the hymn sing thing. One of the things that makes it so great is normally on purpose we do the songs a little slower than they were originally. But you can see when it connects with a person's memory. You can see it on their face.
Right.
And they're just instantly taken back to a church where they couldn't sing the parts right. But in their mind, they did.
What was the response from, because when you do the hymn sing, you normally have several artists come. Yep. What was the response when you first brought this idea? Was this like something that kind of developed over several years, or did you just kind of go to people and say, hey, I've got an idea for doing this? What do you think?
No, we were actually, there's a little theater we sing in every year in Shipshewana, Indiana. It's an Amish, kind of a tourist town. And they have a theater, they have a restaurant and a theater upstairs. So we do 2 or 3 days there at a time, and because it's a small theater. And one night, Rodney just interrupted me in the second part of the program, and because I was going to play, I said some lady wanted me to play a hymn or something, just instrumental, so I'm going to do that. And Rodney said, why don't you just do a medley? So he took requests from different sections of the audience, and I wrote them down. There were 5. I wrote them down, and I just started playing, and I was going to just transition and just go through the 5. And when I started playing the first one, people started singing. And when I transitioned, they sang the second one. They sang all 5. And then people started yelling out titles, Wonderful Grace of Jesus. And for 45 minutes, they just took over. I just let them do it. They just, okay, what's next? Wow. And they sang. The audience sang. So when we got on the bus that night, I told the guys, I said, man, there's a bunch of people that miss that or want to do that. So we were going to be doing a multi-day event in Gatlinburg with those artists that were here the night we did the hymn sing. So a couple of weeks before that event, I just sent them an email and said, hey, we're all going to be in Gatlinburg for the event. If you're going to be around on Monday, would you be interested in coming over to my church and we'll do a hymn sing on that Monday night? This was probably 6 weeks out. And all of them wrote back and said, that would be great. You know, we're singing in Chattanooga on Sunday. We're over here on Sunday. We'll come to Morristown. So they all came. Mm-hmm. And,
the rest
is the rest is history. Yeah. And now we take, usually 3 of those artists will go with us. And we change it, depending on who's available. And we do that for a reason, because if you just get up on a platform and lead congregational music for 90 minutes or 2 hours, you know, that would get a little monotonous. You got to have a solo to break it up, or a group to do a verse, just to break it up a little, right? You know. And so that's where that idea came from.
Wow. So do you have a lot of people will call out stuff during an event that says, hey, can you sing this? Or
we let them do that on the second half.
Okay.
Now, we won't hear, because it's Sunday. On Sundays, we don't do an intermission.
Right.
But if it's a Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, we'll do about an hour, and then we'll actually take an intermission. And people can come out into the lobby and make requests. And I'll come back with 50 or 60.
Do you ever find any that you've never heard of before?
Yes. And we'll try them. Yes, we'll try them, especially if I don't know them.
Wow.
Because that's fun, you know, see if I can actually, or if we can figure it out. And we did that. Some guy in Gulf Shores, Alabama, back in October, it was on this piece of paper, this song called That Heavenly Home. Well, I remembered a group at the church I grew up in, a quartet, sang that song when I was a kid. I hadn't heard it in 40 years. I said, surely nobody here knows that song except whoever requested it. And so Sandy, the organist, who's 77, she said, well, try it. You know it. Try it. So I said, okay, give me a F chord and I'll try it. So I started singing it. Every word came back. And when I got to the chorus, it has an alto lead. Well, I'm not an alto. So Sandy pulled a mic around and sang the alto line, the alto, that heavenly home. And then one of the other guys grabbed a mic, and we all of a sudden had a trio sing. We sang it all the way through. And it was one of the most powerful moments.
Wow.
Because that particular area knew it, but hadn't heard it in forever. And all of a sudden, it was like an old-fashioned Sunday night camp meeting type of. It was really cool.
Awesome.
Wow, that is.
But stuff like that happens, you know. I like it when you get off the bulletin.
It's like a comedian, you know. He starts working the audience, and all of a sudden everybody else is like, "Oh, this is a great show."
Yes, God's a great planner, and He's planned it all. You know, He can plan, but we are not nearly as good at it. And so, when He wants to change something, the best worship times I've ever been in churches is when it got changed.
I totally agree.
Right in the moment. And that's when it's good. You know,
That's good.
We got a plan, but He's the great interrupter.
He's got a better plan.
Always better. Yes.
Very good. Well, you know, we kind of rounding up the questions that we had. Do you have a question for us?
Yes.
Oh, no. I'll let you take this one, Brooks.
What do you guys do for a living? I mean, you just sit around in here all day and drink coffee, and
This is pretty much it. Come in and
you get paid. And I mean, this full-time ministry thing, it's not really work, is
Oh,
it?
wow. I have friends that say that you only work a couple days a week.
Listen, my mom, when I first started traveling the road, she said, what are you going to do for a living? Aren't you going to get a job? And I said, Mom, it's not. Well, after 12 years or so, she retired from her job, and I needed somebody in the office. So I said, Mom, why don't you come and answer the phone and help? I don't know anything about it. We'll train you. So she worked for us for, I guess, about 12 years till she was well up in her 70s. And she said, I'm going to retire. And every day that I would come into the office, she would sit in her chair and she would lean back and she said, I don't know how you put up with these people. So anyway, it is work. What you guys do is work. It's work. Works your mind.
Well, there's a lot. There's a lot that goes on, even behind the scenes, that a lot of people don't see.
A lot.
But we appreciate, you know, everyone who really supports us in the ministry. And that means things that go on within the sanctuary and things that go on outside the walls, and trying to be able to reach the community with the gospel of Jesus Christ. And really that's what drives us, is saying, hey, is there a time that we can actually share something to make an impact in somebody's life?
we've got to, as media pastors that work with media, we have to do a really good job for those members that only show up six Sundays a year, you know.
That's right. And I watch.
Well, there we go.
I watch the app on the bus, and I'll text in sometime.
Yes, you
How about a
will.
little reverb?
I think,
no
wait,
audio.
whoa. Hang on. I think the term or the actual phrase was a little reverb cures a multitude of sins.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was it. Was covers. I missed it, yeah.
Little reverb. Feed's a little dry this morning.
Yes, yep.
Trying to be a blessing.
You are.
Trying to help.
Always thinking about others. Just trying to help.
Yes.
Yep.
Trying
Listen,
to help those
Doc,
other viewers out.
It's a team. If one man hits a home run, we all get to run the bases.
There you go. We appreciate the help. We appreciate
Yes.
the help.
Absolutely. All right, so what we will do is we will call this session finished.
Hallelujah.
Yeah.
Finally.
It's been a while. And we appreciate everyone who has shown up today, however you found us, whether you watched us on the internet or actually on one of the networks that we're on. We appreciate you being here. And as always, if you ever have questions, you can contact us at
Sit still at retvmedia.com.
And until next time, thank you, Gerald, for joining us.
My pleasure.
We'll see you soon.